Welcome to Learning Target 2 from Unit 4. Here we'll be able to say at the end, hopefully, that I can construct the graph of a linear function that includes key features of intercepts and slope. Okay, so this is part 1 of Learning Target 2. There will be a part 2 that we'll go over later. But first, part 1, we want to kind of talk about graphing using intercepts. So graphing using intercepts is, we kind of want to complete this sentence. So when given a equation in what we call standard form, the equation is going to look like this. So it's going to have an x and a y. They're going to be added, or there's going to be addition of a negative here. But now you're going to have 3 different other values where we say A, B, and C. A, B, and C represent just numbers in our equation, okay? So we'll cover some of those examples as we're trying to graph, but just know that A, B, and C are numbers, so kind of look like 2x plus 3y equals 6. That would be a great example. So notice that I don't have 5 variables. It's going to be 2 variables of x and y, and then 3 numbers. But I'm still going to have multiple variables to help me out, okay? So the process is, I want to be able to plug in a value of 0 for x to get the y-intercept. And what that does is here, if you kind of look at my example, if I plug in 0 for this x here, okay, what that's going to get me is 2 times 0. And so what happens is because it's 2 times 0, it's just 0. So it actually just disappears and leaves you with this 3y. And so it allows you to have 1 variable left, which is y, right? So you're going to get the intercept that's going to be 0 in for x. Remember that ordered pairs, x comma y. That's how we write them. So 0 is our x. And then I'm going to get some number for y. Now, a mathematical way of doing this is always going to be the c divided by the b, or just some value there. Now, if we kind of go back here, so let me replace my 2x plus 3y. Now, I want to be able to also find the x-intercept. So in doing so, I'm going to plug in a 0 for the y. And so kind of the same idea, when I plug in 0 for this y here, 3 times 0 gets me 0. So it actually makes this disappear, leaving you with 2x equals 6. And so in doing so, it makes it easy to solve. So the intercept or ordered pair that you were left with is now y is going to be 0, but then it's going to be the value of c divided by a, or just a number, okay? Now, sometimes it'll be a fraction, sometimes it won't. Just know that you're going to get 2 ordered pairs. That's the key here. That's the key. 2 ordered pairs is what you want. Okay? So if you do not get 2 ordered pairs, then you have made a mistake. And so you need to go back and check your work. Okay? So let's kind of put this into practice. So example 1 here, I want to be able to graph the following linear functions that are written in standard form. So I'm given 2x plus 4y equals 16. Okay? So same process as what we talked about. I'm going to plug in 0 in for x. Okay, so plugging in 0 there. And then that allows me to get 2 times 0, which is 0. Oops. And then 0 plus 4y is 4y. So like I said before, that 2x goes away. And so then now I can divide both sides by 4, which gets me 4. So I should end up having an ordered pair where there's your 0 for x. Okay, so put it there. Here's my y, which is 4. So I get the ordered pair of 0, 4. Then the same idea over here for the x-intercept. I plug in 0 in for y. Oops. So there's my 0 in for y. 4 times 0 is 0. 2x plus 0 is 2x. And then now I can divide. So divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 8. So now writing my ordered pair, there's that value. Here is this value of y. Then I'm going to plug there. So I get the ordered pair at 8, 0. So you should have one ordered pair that ends up being on the x-axis and one that ends up being on the y-axis. So if I go to my graph and actually graph these, so each tick mark or each line is going to be 1. So go 1 from starting from the origin. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's 8, 0. Make sure to label your points. And then I go to 0, 4. So from the origin, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And graph it right there. And then from here, now I get to graph a line as best as I can. And that's my graph. Okay, so let's try this on another problem. So I have negative x plus 2y equals 3. So same idea, going to plug in 0 in for x. Negative 0 is 0. 0 plus 2y is 2y. So here, notice that when I divide by 2 to both sides, I do not get a whole number. And sometimes you don't. I can choose to make this 3 halves, 1 and 1 half. It might be easier if you just make this a decimal, which is fine. So 1.5. So then I get 0, 1.5 for that y-intercept. And then on the other side, plug in 0 for y. 2 times 0 gets me 0. Negative x plus 0 is negative x. Okay, now it may seem like we're done, but remember that this is a 1 here. Okay, so then I need to divide both sides by that negative 1, so it's just x when I'm done. So that gives me negative 3. So I get the ordered pair of negative 3, 0. Okay, so going over here, so there's 1 and 2 and then 3 is my ordered pair. So negative 3, 0. Okay, and then going up 1. Now because it's not quite 2, it's going to be in the middle, so I'm going to make a point in between those 2 tick marks. So that gets me 0, 1.5. And then I make my line. And that's my graph. Okay. Next one. So here, 3x minus 6y equals 15. So same thing. So I'm looking for my y-intercept. So I plug in 0 in for x. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 6y is negative 6y. Divide both sides by negative 6y. Okay, same thing here. Doesn't go into it evenly, but negative 6 goes into 15 negative 2.5 times. So I'm going to write that. And then x-intercept. I'm going to plug in a 0 in for my y. Negative 6 times 0 is 0. 3x minus 0 gets me 3x. And then I want to divide both sides by 3. And that gets me x equals 5. So then my ordered pair would be 5 comma 0. And so then now I want to plot that. So 5 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there on the x-axis. Okay. And then here, now I'm going negative 2.5 down. So 1, 2, that gets me right in between negative 2 and negative 3. And actually, just to be safe, let's move this label out of the way. There we go. Now we can make a straight line right there. Okay, and then that'd be my answer. Okay, so this is kind of how we would graph in standard form. The part 2 is going to be when you're given a y-intercept and the slope, and we'll talk about that in part 2. Okay, take care.